can you use a competitor's trademark or somebody's trademark in marketing and advertising? And the answer is yes, potentially you can. It's considered fair use. It just depends on how you use it, and you must be careful. My name is Derek Fahey. I'm a registered patent attorney and intellectual property attorney with the Plus IP firm, and this is going to be a brief article about fair use and how you can or should not use somebody else's trademark or some other business's trademark. So first off, nominative fair use is okay. Nominative means limited fair use of somebody's trademark. So the second type of use is considered, use in comparative advertising, when you're comparing somebody else's product against yours. That's a little trickier. So nominative fair use, there's actually a three-part test. The first one is, the first part of the test is, can you describe the product or service without use of somebody else's trademark? Okay, that's the first part. The second part is your use of the trademark or somebody else's trademark, is your use more than is reasonably necessary? And the last part of the test is whether or not you're creating some sort of false affiliation. That's a big deal, some sort of promotion, some false affiliation or promotion. Here's an example. Let's say you were featured in a magazine, let's call it Ringo magazine, and you say on your article, in your post, your blog post, I was featured in Ringo magazine, and you only say it one time. Well, that should be considered nominative fair use because you're only using it one time. It's a limited amount, and you're not stating it 100 times in the article, and you're not creating some sort of false affiliation with the Ringo magazine. Should not be an issue. Now, if you use the Ringo magazine 100 times in the article, now you're talking about doing it in a way that is probably more than reasonably necessary. That's part two of the test. And you may actually create some sort of false affiliation between you and Ringo magazine. Maybe people are searching Ringo magazine on the internet, and you're popping up, and somehow it's creating some sort of false association between you and the magazine. So you got to be careful. Don't want to use too much more than is reasonably necessary. Comparative advertising can also be considered fair use. The number one rule for comparative advertising, it's got to be truthful. Make sure you have the facts, that it's actually accurate. The second thing about comparative advertising is you want to make sure that you're not, again, using more than reasonably necessary in order to create sort of false affiliation between you and the product. So, for example, if you say that you have a mattress, and your mattress is better than your competitor's mattress, and you make that comparison, but you only make the comparison once, you're not using the other person's brand a lot, that probably is okay if it's truthful. You're not creating some sort of false affiliation. Now, if you say that you say the other competitor's mattress 100 times in the article, so now when someone searches that particular mattress, you pop up, that could be an issue because you're using it more than you really need to, and reasonably necessary to make the comparison, and it's creating some sort of false affiliation. So you got to be careful about what you're doing. You can also include disclaimers saying you're not affiliated, but that's not going to be a get out of jail free card. So be careful. So next part I want to talk about is the use of logos. Be very careful with the use of logos. When you use somebody's logo, for example, but Ringo had a particular logo, the use of somebody's logo may go beyond what is reasonably necessary, and that may cause the test to fail. So in certain cases, courts have found that the use of distinctive lettering in somebody's trademark went beyond more than was reasonably necessary, and therefore was not fair use. So you got to be careful with using somebody else's logos. Now, in reality, people may want you to use the logo. For example, if you say find me on Facebook and you're putting, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok icons on your website, is that fair use? It's maybe considered fair use, and maybe those people actually will never enforce it against you. Maybe those entities actually give you a license to use a logo so that they can promote their services. You just got to be careful. Be careful with logos. If someone tells you to stop using the logo or they're going to sue you, you need to take that seriously. Be careful. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to it. I appreciate you watching. give me a call or message me if you have any questions. Thanks again.